Hey everyone, Hallie here at High Octane Cards, back at you with the preview for this Sunday's O'Reilly Auto Parts 253 on the road course at Daytona International Speedway. Of course, you know they're not going to have practice or qualifying this weekend, and so the lineup is set by the qualifying metric, which has three weighted values. 15% of that is the weighted fastest lap in the previous race. So wherever your fastest lap ranks in relationship to your competitors. 25% is either the driver or the car owner's finish, and 35% is the weighted point standing, where you are in the point standings relative to your competitors as well. So with that being said, Chase Elliott will start on the pole, Michael Mcdowell second. Not really any surprises in the lineup. Maybe Corey LaJoie in 7th place. Corey is not really noted as a road racer, but did have a top 10 at Daytona in the 500, of course. Excuse me. Drivers that will be making their season debut this weekend include Justin Haley in the 77 that Jamie McMurray ran. Let's see, who else do we have here? Looking down real quick. AJ Almandinger will be making his debut this season for Colleague Motorsports. James Davison for Rick Ware Racing, and Timmy Hill and Ty Dillon, who failed to qualify excuse me, at Daytona, will be making their season debut, as there's only 40 cars entered. There are 15 Chevrolets, 5 Toyotas, 18 Chevrolets, 16 Fords, and 5 or 6 Toyotas. One, two. Well, anyway, I'm just doing it off of what I had downloaded off the NASCAR statistics page. So anyway, there's only been one race ran on the Daytona road course for the NASCAR Cup Series prior to this year's Busch Clash. So we're not really going to talk about the Busch Clash, but we're going to talk a little bit about last year's race, August 16th, 2020. I believe it was also the first race that they used this particular metric qualifying system. Kevin Harvick started on the pole for that race. There was only 39 cars entered, so everybody did start. The race had 4 cautions for a total of 7 laps. Now, bear in mind, this is a 3.61 mile track with 14 turns, so the caution laps are a lot longer, and they don't need to run 8 or 10 laps at each yellow, especially the stage breaks like they do on some of the smaller oval tracks. The average speed was 89.39 miles an hour. Stage 1, Stage 2 were the first 2 caution flags. They had a caution flag for rain, and then, of course, Kyle Busch had an accident in Turn 2 late in the event that kind of set up a somewhat closer finish. I believe the margin of victory was about a little over a quarter of a second. I didn't write that down. I just kind of looked at it. But Chase Elliott did win the race. Denny Hamlin was second, followed by Martin Truex Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and Chris Buescher were your top 5. Rounding out your top 10 were Clint Bowyer, Kaz Grala, William Byron, Joey Logano, and Michael McDowell. Now, one name that you heard there, Kaz Grala, that was his NASCAR Cup Series debut. He was replacing Austin Dillon, who was out with a positive COVID test. I'm sure you all remember that one. 2 drivers in the top 10, Jimmy Johnson and Clint Bowyer, also will not be competing this weekend, as they have retired from full-time NASCAR competition. Well, with that being said, this is going to be a fairly quick video. I want to kind of give you my favorites, my dark horses, and my long shots for this weekend, and you may or may not agree with this. And I thought I did fairly well with Daytona as far as picking the favorites and the long shots and so forth. Of course, I had McDowell in my I guess I call it the underdog category, not necessarily long shot, but I had McDowell in that one, and of course, you've seen he ended up winning the race, so good for him. That was a very exciting finish to an otherwise pretty much, in my opinion, boring race, but we kind of went over that the other day. So anyway, and I'm going to do this every week. I'm going to have 4 in each tier: favorites, dark horses, and long shots, and I'll kind of explain along the way with the dark horses and the long shots, because favorites are obvious. Excuse me, just kind of having some issues here and everything's flaring up all at once. So anyway, the favorites, I feel the probably 4 favorite drivers in this race are going to be Chase Elliott, for obvious reasons. He's been one of the best road course drivers lately. Martin Truex Jr. is very strong on the road courses. Denny Hamlin, who also has a strong presence on the road courses. And this one a lot of people may or may not agree with, but Ryan Blaney, he won the first race on the Roval. Of course, he was running second, or he was leading heading into the last set of corners before him and Chase collided on the Busch Clash a week and a half ago, and I just feel Blaney has strong runs on these oval road course mixtures. He's not as strong at Sears Point and Watkins Glen, but I think that the Roval and the Daytona road course really suit his driving style a lot better. Dark horses, I have to look at Chase Briscoe. He runs incredible on the road courses in Xfinity. He did win the first Charlotte Roval race, I believe, back a couple years ago for his first career Xfinity win. So even though he's a rookie and he's only making his second Cup start, I look for him to be very strong and competitive. Matt DiBenedetto, you can't count him out on any road courses. You remember the fine run he had at Sonoma driving for Levine Family Racing. I believe he ended up finishing 4th or 5th that day. Michael Mcdowell, Daytona 500 winner. If there's a road course, you got to put McDowell in the dark horse category just because he's not a top team. He's not like a long shot in this. So I think on the ovals, he's going to be more of a long shot than a dark horse. But on the road courses, because of his road racing background, I have to move him up a category there. And then AJ Almandinger, just because this is Kaulig Racing, it's a new team. And AJ hasn't run much Cup races in the last couple of years since being released from JTG Doherty. So I think AJ, even though he did great in Xfinity last year, and I see him being a top 4 driver in Xfinity this year, I think he's going to struggle with this team and this car as they kind of find their footing in this series. I'm sure Kaulig's looking to move up to the Cup Series within the next few years full time. My long shot, my long shot drivers are Eric Almarola. Eric always run good on the Roval, and I just see him as a driver that doesn't have a lot of a big road course background. He doesn't bring that to the table, but he's always run good at the Roval, and he's not really had an opportunity to do much racing on road courses, so I think he'll be a long shot driver. Alex Bowman also does good at the Roval. I think he had a second place finish there a couple years ago. Ryan Preece, I look at Ryan Preece as something of an anomaly. He's kind of one of those drivers that I put him in the category of a Ross Chastain and a Matt DiBenedetto that did not take that full-time ride with a guaranteed mid-pack team in Xfinity, gambled on a few races in a good car, and it paid out, just like with Chastain with the 42 car in Xfinity a few years ago when he jumped over from the JD Motorsports car and ended up winning an Xfinity race at Vegas for the then DC Solar team with Chip Ganassi. So I see Preece as kind of an anomaly, but I think he's the type of driver that can just go out any weekend and under the right circumstances can have a solid run, but he's not a favorite. So I think he's kind of a sleeper pick if you want to use him in your fantasy leagues. I think he would be a good budget choice. And then the other one is William Byron. Again, William, kind of like Bowman and Almarola, does not bring a wealth of road racing background. I think that he did finish 8th last year at the Daytona road course race. I think that he does bring enthusiasm, and he has that, he's kind of, being a younger driver, he'll be able to learn moving forward. So he's like everybody else in this field, unless they've run a lot of prototype races, like the 24 Hours of Daytona and stuff. He's got the same amount of seat time as everybody else at the Daytona road course. So I feel that, again, he's in great equipment. He's got, a great attitude. He's got that learning curve and that desire to win. He just, lacks the experience overall. So I consider him kind of a long shot in this, just based more on experience than what I do equipment. So hopefully, you guys like this video. I'm going to continue to do these. I think it's fun, kind of interact with you guys a little bit more than on the card stuff, because the card stuff, I have a lot of fun with that. But, NASCAR is kind of what I've lived for my whole life. I enjoy watching it, I enjoy reading about it, enjoy talking about it. This kind of gives me an outlet to, okay, hey, we got a race coming up. Let's see what, we can learn about that. I find some interesting stuff in doing this research for the upcoming races. Then, Sunday night, Monday morning, I'll do a video reviewing the race that they ran that weekend. So I'm looking forward to this little project this year. I think this will be a lot of fun. So anyway, this actually 9.5 minutes, went a lot longer than I thought it was going to. But at any rate, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like I said, I'd put this out, and we'll get this uploaded right shortly. And tomorrow, again, we will do, probably finish up those 2021 hobby box. And I've got to wait till tomorrow since it's payday, and I'm going to order a few more things online and see what we can get. So once again, thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.